This is how I painted a Space Marine from the Armageddon box as a carcharodon. So I start off with this gray and I paint it over the Marine. That's overdone in black primer. Then I mix in this gray with the other one to get a mid-tone to get something that looks like this. Then I use the gray by itself and I kind of will fill in the areas around it to get a bunch of highlights. It kind of looks like a comic book once you finish. And that's what this is here. I put a matte varnish over top to seal all of the paint on there because I use a foam carrying case. So as you take it in and out of the foam, over time the paint will scratch off, and so this is just to remove the risk of it scratching off with the foam. One thing I would like to note for this is that if you do this step over top of metallics, then that dulls out the metallics and it makes it look like it's one flat color. You're going to see that here with the land speeder. So this is what it will look like when it's dry. And on top of the land speeder, there's metallics with the little crest up there. And that's very dull color-wise, just because I use that varnish over top. To prevent having dull colors with varnishes, we use a metallic varnish instead, but we'll do that later. Right now, we're putting in red lenses with red metallics. Then we're coming in with this silver. We're going to dry brush the gun with silver to kind of get a worn battle style look. Then we're going to take that silver and we're going to load up the brush and we're going to hit the thrusters or like the heat exhaust from the backpack using it as seen here. That's all you have to do with this silver during this step. I'm just going to let the video play out so you can see what I'm doing here. Here I come with this yellow, white, and gray colors to do the purity seals on it. And then later down the line we're going to come in with a brown speed paint over top to make the darkest tones. So we're going to come back with this color to get highlights over top of the darkest tones to make it more realistic. Before we do the darker tones though, we're going to come over with this brass or this copper color to get the trim on the carcharodons. Now it normally should be gold, but I found this color is fine as a substitution instead. One thing that may be very apparent when it comes to this clip is that I'm getting a lot of it over top of the gray paint. Now that's fine because we're going to come back with the gray paint and we're just going to do touch-ups on the edges to make it a lot cleaner. Now we're going to come in with this red and we're going to paint over the purity seal part, like the wax part, using it. This is all we have to do. We don't have to do anything else with this red paint. This is where we use the speed paint over top of the dry brush white, which I forgot to film, but you just do a dry brush of white over top of this and it just makes it look good with a bunch of highlights. And after we go in with this speed paint over top of the little bags and like the gun holster, we're going to do the same thing over top of the purity seals just to get the darker tones. Then we're going to come back using that purity seal kind of like old paper color. We're going to paint over top of it a little to get it to look a little nicer and more like it's an actually like old piece of paper. The final step is going to be applying a gloss varnish, and so you're just going to put it over top of any of the parts that are metallic. Now, I will say, if you're buying varnishes, buy the Warhammer brand stuff because it looks to me and kind of feels to me like you're getting more varnish for less of your money. One thing I did not film in this video was doing the actual logo on the shoulders itself. Now the logo is actually incredibly hard to do, but I'll explain it. You basically want to do a backwards C, then a little C on the bottom to get the fins, or the tail, and then you want to do the fins, and that's it. This is what the gloss varnish is going to look like when it dries though. This is just on my librarian that I painted up, and this is another one on a power sword I painted up to kind of show like what the gloss varnish looks like next to a normal varnish. In a future video, I'm going to show 2 ways that you can base models with water bases. One of them is going to be on the Chaplain, and the other one is going to be on that Marine. And the Marine's going to be done this way. The Chaplain's going to be done using UV resin and some AK Interactives paint. I'm going to show a tutorial for how to do cloaks on the Captain, but this is what the finished Marine should look like if you followed everything normally. Thank you for watching this video, and hopefully come back again for more.